That with Lars Larson, syndicated radio talk show host, and Leslie Marshall, a syndicated radio talk show host as well, and a Fox News contributor. And good day to both of you. Is New York City, Lars, now the largest amnesty city in the world? Is that what this is?
Let's call it what it is. It's a sanctuary city, and you know that Bill de Blasio is doing nothing more or less than aiding and abetting criminal activity. Now, remember when Jan Brewer in Arizona tried to enforce the federal government's own laws on illegal aliens, and the president and the Justice Department came down on her like a ton of bricks, saying, you have no business trying to act as an agent of immigration laws. Well, here's New York City taking illegal aliens that they know are illegal aliens, and the mayor proposes to aid and abet them in their crimes by giving them official government ID. It's absolutely outrageous.
Leslie, you got an issue with this? I mean, you don't need, what do you need? You got to have to prove your identity. I guess that means you have a card with your name on it, and you have to prove that you've got an apartment or a home here in New York. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I think Lars will be surprised. I'm going to agree with him somewhat. I have no problem with being able to have some kind of identification for elderly, for homeless, many of which are veterans, for those in the LGBT community, where there's confusion sometimes perhaps about one's identity, in order to open a bank account, get an apartment. I do not believe that when people have come here illegally, I do believe we should have immigration reform and provide a pathway to citizenship, and that is not the mayor's position. Two issues that I have with this are, one, this doesn't really do anything to address the problems with immigration in New York or anywhere else for that matter, because the overwhelming majority of illegal immigrants are not going to come forward to get this card. Secondly, this also doesn't do anything regarding discrimination against homeless or elderly or the LGBT community. It just allows them to open a bank account or to show who they are, but the bank can refuse service, and of course anybody renting an apartment can refuse them to be a tenant. So I'm not really sure what the mayor wants to do with this, so I'm not 100% on board.
Apparently it's already happened in LA, San Francisco, and New Haven, Connecticut. Yep. Now you've got a city of 8 million now that will be that will have this law starting in 2015. And someone argued, Lars, that you trace this story back to the problems we're having on the border, with no solutions out of our leaders in Washington to figure that out in the near term. And so people are asking the question, like this woman in Houston, Texas. Her first name is Bernadette, and she's wondering about the people already here who are here legally. And the question she asks is, what do we do about them? I want you to listen to this, and then we'll debate her point next. Watch.
Sure.
Open the school up for them, really? Is that right? Do anybody think that's right? It's not right. Now billions of dollars want to be borrowed from the White House to help feed and house them. What about the kids here, in our neighborhood, in our country? Not just in this neighborhood, but in our country. Am I the only one in this community that's out here that watches the news in the morning? But don't bring them here. We don't have nothing for them. They're already taken away from my kids, my grandkids, to give to somebody else. I understand, President Obama, that it is a humanitarian issue. But look right within your own house. Look in your backyard, man.
Again, Houston, Texas, and Bernadette Lancelin. What do you think of that, Lars, the point she's making?
Bill, I ran her soundbite last night, and I appreciate what she says. She's a real American who says, you're not taking care of people here, and you propose 90,000 estimated illegal alien children coming into the country just this year, and we're going to divert literally billions of dollars of resources to them. She's absolutely right, and she's right that a lot of people aren't paying attention to the news. They're not watching what's going on around them, and they're not understanding what this is going to do to American communities, to American schools, and really to kind of gut the rule of law in this country. She's absolutely right. That's why I ran her on my show last night.
Let me bring Leslie in on this. What do you think of the point she's making there?
Well, these are two different jurisdictions. I mean, the education of the children in Houston, where I used to live in the state of Texas, is really up to the school district in Houston in the state of Texas. With regard to immigration, that is a federal issue, and that is under the guise of the federal government, and the president does have some say. The bottom line here is legislation that was passed in 2008 directly with the 3 to 4 year backlog in the courts does not allow us to deport these children properly. We also have to say, where are we deporting them to? Honduras is the murder capital of the world. Some of these children have witnessed their parents being murdered in front of their eyes, and we can't just drop them off. Also in Honduras, Guatemala, El Salvador, they don't have the means to take care of the children that are being brought in, and the money is needed, and the money is needed to address that. The National Guard alone is not going to do that. That can help with the border, but it doesn't help with the backlog of immigration,
Bill,
and we cannot allow these children. Lars, are you proposing we allow these kids to starve?
Lars, I'll let you answer that in a moment here. I just want to, the segment was about the 500,000 illegals living here in New York that will be granted a card come 2015. So that law is now, it's happening here in New York City. Lars, quickly, final comment.
Quickly, Leslie's being disingenuous. That law was passed designed to stop sex trafficking and human trafficking. These illegal aliens are not being sex trafficked. They're taking advantage of the law.
Leslie, quickly.
Well, this is the smugglers are trafficking humans, and these humans are children. They're being paid, and they're trafficking these humans over the border. But as far as New York, because I live here in LA, Bill, very quickly, look, I want people to be able to see their children in school and the teachers, even if they're illegal. But here in Los Angeles, we didn't have a huge amount of illegals coming forward for such documentation.
Well, let's leave that topic for the next time. Plenty to talk about, okay? Thank you, Leslie, and thank you, Lars, as well. 20 minutes before the hour.